Today we are going to create and start our monochromatic painting. You will get to choose an animal or an object, something that you like. Okay, I chose my Boston Terrier dog, Tula, to create for this artwork. And then I also chose an art palette, as I love to create art. So we are going to be using tints for the object and shades in the background, or you can flip it and you could do shades in the object and tints in the background. That is up to you. So to begin today, I want you to draw your object. So this is something that you like to do. This is a hobby. This is an animal if you have a pet. Maybe you brought in a picture. Okay, you're going to draw it, and this is again going to be either tints or shades. Okay, and you need to have enough sections to paint at least, I would say, 6, 7 different tints or shades. So you can see here it's taking up a lot of my paper. Okay, it has lots of details, so I have little paints. I have a paintbrush. This is my palette. Okay, so I want you to take a little bit of time and draw your object. Now when you're drawing your object, first of all, it could be either the portrait way or the landscape way. I drew my coffee cup the landscape way, but that is way too small. Okay, I love coffee. I want to do coffee, but this is way too small. So this is a nice big coffee cup. It takes up a lot of my artwork, but there's not enough sections for different tints and shades. I would just have 1, 2, 3 different tints. This is not enough, so I want to go in and add more details. So I could add maybe some kind of swirl that I could paint. I could have maybe steam coming off of the coffee cup. I could add some kind of pattern in my coffee cup to create more spaces for tints or shades, whichever you decide to do in your object. But it needs to have detail. Now, not too much detail, as we are going to be painting these. You don't want to do really little details, which is why you want to make it nice and big, but enough detail so you can see all of the different tints that I have used for my dog. Once you have created and drawn your object, we are going to fill in the background, and we're going to fill it in with just different shapes. So I'm going to start. There's not a certain number that you need to use. Just using different shapes in my background for different shades or tints, whichever you decide to use. You don't want to do too little of shapes, because that would not, again, allow for enough shades. And you don't want to do too many, as we are going to be using a paintbrush, and you don't want to do really teeny little areas and sections. Now we are ready to paint. We're going to start with painting tints. I'm going to do tints in my object in my palette, but you can choose to either do tints in your object or tints in the background. That is up to you, but I'm going to do it in my palette. So to start today, you have your paintbrush, you have paint, your color, and then white, as tints are white added to a color. But I'm going to start with just blue, just the pure blue, and I'm going to paint in very carefully a few of my areas, maybe just 1 or 2 areas with the pure blue. Always thinking about craftsmanship, taking my time. Doing the best painting that I can. Now I think I'm ready to slowly add white. So I'm going to grab a little bit of white and add it to my blue. Maybe a little bit more white and add it to my blue. If it doesn't look any different, then you'll want to add more white. But that's enough. We want to make a variety of tints, and then I'm going to choose another spot. I'm going to paint this tint over here. Then again, I will paint, add more white and make a lighter tint. I think I'll do the handle for my paintbrush in that tint as well. Going nice and slow, making nice crisp lines. Okay. Then I would add more white and make another tint. You're going to continue this process, making more and more tints, a variety of different tints, until your entire object, whether it is an animal or a sport, maybe it's a tennis racket, maybe it's a violin, or an art palette, you're going to keep going until your entire artwork or your entire object is full of tints. So you can see here how I have a variety of different tints in my palette, and I'm done with my object, and now I'm ready to do shades. For shades, you're going to have your pure color again. So I have my pure blue, and then I'm going to add black. When you add black, know that it is very, very powerful. You only want to add a little bit of a time. But I'm going to start with my background, and again, I'm going to start with that pure color. And I'm going to do maybe 3 different shapes. With my pure blue before I start mixing. Thinking about craftsmanship, going nice and slow. So I would do maybe a couple more, okay? Maybe one here, maybe a 4th one here. And then I'm going to slowly add black. Again, black is very powerful. Only add a little bit at a time. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to paint a shade. So this is a darker blue, painting another section of my background. Now again, you may be doing your background, or you may be doing your object. Either one, you're going to paint a few sections with each shade. Okay, I could maybe do another one over here. Again, keeping them balanced. I wouldn't want to do all my really dark shades in a row. Kind of balancing them out. Then I'm going to slowly add a little black. Again, you can see how it's getting darker very fast. So I may even add a little bit more blue. It got a little bit too dark. I'm going to go ahead and do a different shade. Again, you can see that's darker. You're going to keep going, and your last one may end up just being black. If you have complete black, you can see here I have very light, almost white, as well as here in my tint. So you, at the end, after you keep adding and filling in, okay, of course you would do a few more for each shade so that it's completely full and looks like this. So I have painted everything. It should be dry. Now it is dry, and we're ready for the last step, which is to go in with a black oil pastel and trace over all of your original lines. Hopefully while you were painting you had really nice craftsmanship, so it's clear where those lines were. If you lost your object a little bit, this is a time to really make it stand out by adding the oil pastel. You're going to go nice and slow. You're going to do this for your object, or your animal, or whatever you decide to do. and you're going to do it in the background. So if I would finish this, then I would go ahead and I would also do it in the shapes, which I know is a little difficult to see in the video, but I would do it in my shapes so that in the end it looks like this. So I have all my details outlined just like my original pencil lines. And then you are done with your monochromatic painting.